Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Stellar Core Debris in the Atmosphere or a Failed Rocket Launch. Now, in Article 271 entitled Planet X Debris Entering the Atmosphere, I wrote about the strange cloud formation shown below. You can see here, as being due to stellar core debris entering the atmosphere and producing a cloud condensation trail, which then emits light due to electron capture, and that this fact is being covered up with rocket launches, as no rocket can possibly create this type of cloud formation. However, people are insisting that it was produced by a failed rocket launch. So in this article, I'd like to address that. Now, the images we see here come from Article 271. As you can see, there is this spiraling pattern of cloud. So obviously the object followed a spiraling path. But this cloud emits light. As you can see, there's blue light coming from there. And here it looks grayish, but it's definitely still light coming off that cloud and all along the object. Now, a rocket produces thrust by burning fuel, which would generate smoke. Smoke dissipates and moves upwards, which we do not see here. Instead, we see a cloud which emits light. How does a trail left behind by a rocket leave a trail of smoke which emits light? The light coming from a rocket launch would come from the point of thrust or the back of a rocket. Any smoke left by the rocket cannot continue to emit light once the back of the rocket has moved away from that. So where does the light emission all along the cloud formation come from? So this is illustrated here. So we have a rocket. A rocket would have a rocket engine at the back. That's where you would see light coming from. It may leave a smoke trail, but the smoke trail should not be emitting light if it's far from where the flames from the back of the rocket are. Now, there has been, however, some reports that the newest rockets are producing noctilucent clouds. However, as I have explained in Article 272, noctilucent clouds and Planet X debris in the Earth's atmosphere, noctilucent clouds are luminescent clouds which emit light due to the atoms making up the cloud being in an excited state. And it takes energy to excite those atoms. Why would rockets have inbuilt in them something which requires additional energy to create? If the purpose of a rocket is to get a payload into space, why would extra energy have to be spent into producing luminescent clouds? The answer is that it is a cover-up. A rocket is either being specifically used to produce these types of clouds in order to cover up the true source of luminescent clouds, which, as I explained in Article 272, is the presence of the Planet X system of stellar cores inside the solar system, and the fact that debris from it is entering the Earth's atmosphere and creating luminescent clouds. Or even more likely, it was used once to produce these clouds, and now the footage from that event is used to cover up any further times when debris comes in and develops into the type of cloud pattern seen in Figure 1 over a populated region of the Earth. Stellar core matter is depleted in electrons and would absorb electrons once inside the Earth's atmosphere, leading to light emission, thus explaining the fact that the condensation trail produced by the entrance of stellar core debris into the atmosphere would emit visible light. In other words, the entrance of stellar core debris into the Earth's atmosphere would result in luminescent clouds. These clouds would be produced at any altitude, not just the high altitude that reportedly noctilucent clouds form. Video footage of the object entering the atmosphere was captured by Matt Williams, who posted it on Facebook. Screenshots of some of the footage are shown below. The object seemed to enter the atmosphere from space and initially looked like a meteor, but the trail grew larger and it developed into a spiraling, light-emitting cloud, as we could see in figure 1. But what is of most interest is that the pin of light that then appeared slowed its progress toward the ground and then stopped and maintained the same altitude for several minutes before finally fading. The object was not seen reaching the ground. As you can see, this is what it initially looked like from the ground. It looked like a meteor streaking across the sky. The person filming, that's Matt Williams, he then zoomed in so you could see it looked almost like a normal meteor, except a normal meteor sometimes looks blue and green as the material burns. This didn't look like an object burning. It looked, as we could see later, like cloud forming behind it, like it was producing a condensation trail behind it. So as you can see, we could now see the cloud forming here. We can also see that the object is descending. It's moving down towards the surface of the earth. And we could see in the video that it slowed and eventually stopped in mid-air. And then it stayed like this for a few minutes. It stayed in the same position in the sky, and then it eventually faded. The light faded. So here we can see that it stayed stationary for at least 1.5 minutes. Actually stayed in the same place, in the same position, until it finally, this light faded. Now, if this object had been a rocket, then it would have been a rocket propelling itself downwards toward the ground as the cloud pattern developed, and then it would level off and it stopped in midair. A rocket is bound by the laws of gravity, and in the case of engine failure, it would quickly be brought back to the ground by those laws of gravity. Any rocket, using its thrusters as it moves downward toward the ground, will get to the ground even faster. So how does a rocket, which is clearly propelling itself downward, stay in mid-air? If the cloud is a smoke trail, then the smoke trail clearly indicates that the rocket is using thrusters to propel itself downwards, not upwards. So if this had really been a rocket, it would have quickly collided with the ground. As you can see, this is illustrated below, a rocket propelling itself towards the ground, and we can see it's doing that because the trail is above it. So it's moving downwards towards the ground, and it can only accelerate towards the ground. Even in free fall, it would accelerate towards the ground. But this object slowed and then stopped in mid-air, which is impossible for a rocket to do. The laws of gravity could not have been violated by a rocket. A failed launch would result in a rocket in free fall, which would then accelerate toward the ground. A rocket cannot propel itself toward the ground and stay in midair or move slowly toward the ground, as this object was seen to be doing. Therefore, this was not a rocket. This cloud formation was produced by stellar core matter debris, which is able to defy the laws of gravity because this type of matter is energy depleted, as I have detailed in many articles. This is the reason why huge objects can be seen in the sun's corona and do not collide with the sun. And you may look at article 236 entitled "What are stellar cores?" for more details on that. The fact that the stellar core debris emitted light, but this light eventually faded, suggests that it absorbed electrons and energy until it reached equilibrium with Earth matter, at which time it became part of the Earth. This means that stellar core material is being absorbed into the planets of the solar system as this debris reaches them and enters their atmospheres. The same would logically be happening with the sun. Since they are much lower in energy than solar system matter, this also means that this is one of the ways that the overall energy of the solar system planets and the sun is declining, i.e. through the absorption or incorporation of stellar core matter into them. In conclusion, a rocket launch or failed rocket launch could not have produced the cloud formation seen in Figure 1. Only the entrance of stellar core matter into the Earth's atmosphere, which is energy and electron depleted, can provide a logical explanation for this phenomenon. And here are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.